Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is your boy, the Crypto Siege, with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. What is going on, guys? Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday to you. Interesting times in the digital asset space. Yeah, so President Trump, will be going live, I believe, at 11:30 in about 10 minutes with the task force. So we shall see that will be all about. That announcement we were talking about, where they're going to do like that 4 week quarantine, 2 to 4 week quarantine. So that might be the thing that they're going to announce. So we shall soon see. I'm sure a lot of you will be tuning in. I think Yahoo is going to stream it live. Yahoo Finance and I believe CNBC Television will be doing the stream as well. So interesting. Lots of great news going on today. I just think this whole thing with the banks looking to do what they're doing. Financial regulators mull bank liquidity rule changes. Interesting. Regulators considering loosening the bank rules. That's an interesting thing. Let's talk about that a little bit as well. So many different things going on. Shout out to DNI, the digital nomad investor, for giving us another great perspective on the overall big picture and how XRP and how we play into this new big system as XRP hodlers, right? And so I love what he says. We just ride on the coattails of the globalists, and then take advantage of that, and then at the appropriate time hop off, do what we need to do as that new generational wealth, right? We'll be the new wealthy. And I think someone actually did a video about that. The new 1%, was that Jungle Inc? AI, I'm not sure, but that's the plan, right? The idea is for us, since there is going to be a new transfer of wealth, it should be us, right? And when we're better suited financially, better positioned financially, we can make the changes that are necessary, right? And so ride the coattails, take advantage of what's kind of going on, what looks like it's going to happen, and then make the changes that we all need. We need a new wealth, right? We need new wealthy out there so that we can get this done, right? Get this done. So excited about that. Exciting times for sure. XRP Ali is in the building. Good to see you. You were first, my friend. TJ Jackson, morning to you, my friend. Good to see you, brother. XR Free Me. What's going on, my friend? Danny Loff is here. Danny Loff is in the building. What's going on, Dan? Mark Escureta. Good bless. Morning to all. Mark, where are you checking in from, my friend? Good to see you on the stream. When Mullet is in the building. What's up, When Mullet? I did get your email, brother. Thank you. I'm a big fan. Real Vision. Big fan of that channel. Comedian Chuck Real is in the building. What's happening, family? What's good with you, Chuck Real? Have you checked in on the channel before, my dude? Good to see you here. Oh, goodness. Miss Crypto Siege is in there doing that insanity. Max Insanity 30. I can hear that music. So yeah, really interesting times, right? So much news going on. Like where do you even begin? Did you guys catch my XRP Ripple daily news in 0 to 10 minutes? That's interesting stuff as well. And in fact, I think I saw DAI do a video just a few minutes ago about that. That's a real deal when this guy talks about that. So did you guys catch that? I may go over that article with you guys as well, because this is coming from a guy 30 years of experience in ITs and working with some of the largest banks in the world. And he kind of points out kind of where they sit. I always like to call it, my mentor used to say, it's ignorance and apathy. It's ignorance and apathy. And that's exactly what the banking system looks like, without question. TJ Jackson said, I did catch it. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Yeah. So I saw somebody named Joe Kennedy. This new stimulus, he was saying like $1,000. That's not enough. Like, do 4K, 4K for if your income was $100,000 or less, and then 2K if it was 1,000, if it was over 100,000, and then wait a minute, I get, yeah, 2,000 if it was over 100,000 family income. And then what was the other one? 18 and younger, you get 1,000. I'm that sounded okay. So 4,000 to every adult who makes under $100,000. So under 100,000. 2K to every adult who makes 100,000 or more. I'm good with that. And 1,000 for every child 18 or younger. Yeah, I watched an interesting interview with Norio. Is it Norio Robini? That dude is like, he is intense, and he said it's really the biggest challenge is going to be the it's really, I mean, he pointed to the debt issue, the credit issue is going to be the biggest thing. That's going to be it. The credit, the credit issue, and that whole market, that credit market, is going to take us down for the count, according to Norio Rubini. Where is Norio Rubini's fame come from? What is he known for? I forget. He's not the he's not the guy from The Big Short. He's not that guy, right? Hank says, can't wait to get that check and then buy more XP. I heard that, my friend. Predicting the crash, I believe, says One Mullet. Okay. Triple Moon, good afternoon. See, good afternoon to you, Triple Moon. They have not said if retired we'll get anything. We probably get nothing. Well, I thought that $1,000 was for everyone. I guess I don't know if they've laid it all out yet. I know Rubini was saying, so that's what it was. Rubini was like, why would you pick and choose who gets the 1,000? Everyone's going to need it. He was saying like everyone in the household. So if it's I don't know how that would work, but if there's 3 in a household, that's 3,000. That's what Rubini wants. So who knows what they're actually going to do? Nova's in the building. It's good to see you, Nova. But I can guarantee you, we would be putting that money into the digital asset space. That's the best bang for the buck. It's funny. I was checking out Marcus. I think it's Marcus by Goldman Sachs. It's essentially it's online banking, and the banking system is in trouble. 1.2% APY, and these yields less than 2%. I mean, they calling this a great savings of 2 point something percent. They're in trouble. And that article, I'm going to share that article with you guys too, because they're in trouble. I mean, 1 point something APY. Are they not paying attention to the DeFi space? Are they not paying attention to what's going on in the DeFi space? Wait until the world gets word of 6, 7, 8, and 9% on your regular US dollars. Yeah, is it digital now? Is it USDC? Yes, it is. But in the end, it's just more. You're going to get more money. APY. You're just getting more money, man. They're in trouble. Uh-oh. When Muller says, I'm buffering, really? Because it's not showing anything at all on my end. Am I still buffering, guys? Dion is in the building. Good to see you, my friend. Gabriel Rouser's here. I wonder how we're gonna pay that debt off. Yeah, I don't think we're going to pay that debt off. I'm really believing. TJ, no buffering on your end. Okay, I'm really believing that with the DNI scenario in regards to QN the IMF. I'm really believing that that's what it's going to be. We're seeing more and more articles from the IMF and the SDR and wanting to use the SDR more. And Rickards is saying, Jim Rickards is saying it's going to be something along the lines of digital, so an ESDR of some sort. But the challenge with the IMF, and they've done this before, where they've done these one-time payments before. They've done it in the past. So it feels like it's going to be the IMF. The challenge right now with the basket of the SCRs that they have right now, it's only about $1 trillion. And I think that either the government debt or the central bank debt is 69 trillion. So they're going to need an asset in which they can multiply its value. And the challenge is only two choices. It's gold and digital assets. Well, they're not going to give up the gold, right? So the only other option is digital assets. Interesting point that DNI did on his video. I guess he must have did it last night or maybe early this morning, and that it's looking like the reason why the SEC has not come out with a ruling yay or nay yet about XRP. Don't you think it's interesting that they just haven't? Don't you find it? I mean, they have already said BTC and Ethereum, right? Not securities. Don't you find it oddly interesting that they just can't come up with something for XRP? Right? And you say, well, maybe it's because the IMF has asked them not to do anything. Because if the IMF puts some kind of ruling in, I mean, the SEC puts some kind of ruling in, it will not allow for the IMF to do what they need to do. Right? It won't allow the IMF to do what they might need to do, which is what they may need to do, something like reset the value of XRP. But apparently, Rickards also said, I just found out, that if they were to be involved with XRP and an ESDR of some sort, they would need to be the controlling authority over it. So they would have to hold the vast majority of that XRP. So I don't know. You know what I mean? They would have to be the majority control of the XRP in order to create this new financial instrument, which would be an ESDR. And so two options there. They can reset the value of XRP, or they can let the market forces determine the value once it's announced that the IMF XRP new financial instrument, this ESDR, and let the market do what it does. I don't know. I do know Ripple's been working a ton, meeting a ton with the people from the IMF, especially in the days of Madame Lagarde. So we shall see. We shall soon see. MoneyGram. What's the question about money? How does MoneyGram fit in if XRP does go global? What do you mean by does go global? Because XRP is already global. So what do you mean, my friend? RB. Danny Kephart is in the building. What's up, Danny Kephart? XRP Rocket Man is here. What's up, my friend? Rav Singh is here. Good to see you, my friend. Lucky XRP. Oil at $23 a barrel. Convenient. We can't go anywhere. Yeah. No, it's good on the island. Okay, good. €1,100 a month for my healthcare. Wow. Oh. Yeah, I know it's crazy. So I don't know what this money is going to help. I really don't. Yeah, did Bush did 250 or 500? Was it only 250? Yeah, I agree, Danny Law. Danny Law says, I think the majority of the escrow that is left has been committed to IMF and some governments. Just my gut here. Yeah, I believe it's been committed to someone. I don't know what entity, but I do believe it's already been committed um, to someone. I just don't know who, but I do believe it is. It has been. I do believe that they know what the power of XRP is and what it can do. And I think they've known for a long time. It's just a matter of whether or not, they're going to do it. when and probably when they're going to do it. Yeah, me too, Gabrielle. I love that he said that because in the end, that's what it is, really. Yeah, I thought that Bush did 400 or 500. I wasn't really sure how much he did back in the day, but that's kind of where we are, guys. 25 people in the stream, 14 likes. Do me a favor and collapse the chat, smash the likes. It definitely helps with the algorithm on YouTube. Did you guys hear that the President Donald Trump and the task force were going to be going live at 11:30? I thought that's what I saw. Oh, there's the buffer. I think I'm buffering there, guys. Hold on. I think I was buffering there for a bit. Siege, what? Kaput. Siege went kaput. I hope I'm back. Am I back now? Once we get regulations, institution will buy the rest of available supplies so fast that average Joe won't get a chance. That's exactly like TJ Jackson. The average Joe, if they're not in this space now in terms of XRP, for me, I just don't see it. You know, I've said this so many times. I just don't believe that they want the number of XRP wallets to be going up. They don't want them going up and to the right. I just don't believe that that's what they want. You know, is the vast if it's the majority of the escrow is already gone. It's just not a lot circulating around. It really that's another point as well. It's not a lot circulating, and it's going to be those who took advantage of it and those who just they missed it. And because of that, here's another interesting point as well. Because they missed it, I think they're going to jump into this digital. Imagine a reset. Imagine a reset of XRP to some 4-figure number. What do you think the masses are going to do once they get word of something like that? It's not that they're going to try and come buy XRP, is that they're going to come into this digital asset space big time. Yeah, Danny Kephart, I don't think regulations are coming anytime soon either. I think the DNI, Digital Nomad Investor, makes a good point. He said he saw it or read it or something somewhere about that the SEC might be waiting, put it off, because they may have been asked by the people from the IMF. Because any type of regulatory clarity in terms of XRP, it might stifle the IMF from doing what they want to do, what they may be wanting to do, which is do some type of reset in terms of price for XRP in terms of its value. And my understanding is that they can do that, and that they can dish out a certain amount. And here's the thing: who's going to stop them if the point of the IMF is they go ahead and reset this, and they reset it, and it's used. The value of it is used to pay off some portion or all of the debt from the central banks and or the governments. Like, who is going to argue with that? Because that's going to include the Fed. That's going to include the Fed. I thought an interesting thing that DNI said today too, or said earlier today also, was that the mainstream media is just simply a scripted rollout. I mean, everything is a scripted for them, because I call them old money. He says it's the powers that be, or the Rothschilds of the world, right? They own the media. It's all scripted. And the idea is to get them in a state of learned helplessness. I love that phrase, learned helplessness. So, in other words, if they make the debt and the global debts and the central bank debts and the corporate debts, they make it so it's so overwhelming to us because of the debts that the world's going to fall apart. If they spin that narrative in the mainstream media, then the masses won't take to the streets rioting because it will make sense to them. It'll not only will it make sense, it'll feel as though it's saving the mass, saving them. I mean, uh, the masses. It'll come across like this move by the IMF is saving the world. That's what it'll come across as. Those Bears is in the building. What's going on, my friend? Deep Lime is in the building. What's up, my friend? Hey, Siege. What's up, family? Late to the stream. We'll be lurking in the chat. Appreciate you being here, Deep Mind. Good to see you. Danny Kephart said, if priced high enough, XRP can liquidate the world, eliminate all debt, and give what everybody has been talking about, a level playing field. Yeah, I saw that, Deep Mind. Canadian and USA borders closed to non-essential traffic. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, TJ Jackson. Wealth Wednesday tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Every single Wednesday, we do something called Wealth Wednesday, Generational Wealth Strategies, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about and how do we prepare ourselves for this generational wealth. How do we prepare ourselves? Sweet juice. Man, good to see you, my friend. Hope I didn't mangle your name up that badly. Appreciate you being here as always. Nova says people will miss this opportunity twice. Yeah, you're right, Nova. You are right, Nova. Is Bitstamp an ODL partner? I can't see if Bitstamp has fiat on or off ramps. I understand they have no limit and they are an ODL partner. I think MoneyGram's going to do really, really well. Mark Wilger says MoneyGram's future looks bright, but I think when XRP becomes the world's reserve digital currency, MoneyGram's stock will head back up again. Yeah, I just think MoneyGram's going to be a very important part of cross-border payments in the future. Wow. Yeah, that's so sad because the masses, that's a sad statement, Nova. Nova said, I told my friend, told my very intelligent friend about getting into the digital asset space recently, but he still hung on when he missed it in 2017. And that's the challenge. It's just not knowing, not being clued in on the reality of this new asset class, right? Call it this NASA space. And people thinking that they somehow missed something because Bitcoin is in the thousands of dollars. It's very, very, very sad. All you can do, my friend Nova, is just kind of keep trying. Recommend a YouTube channel they can tune in to begin to learn more. It's sad, and that's because the masses have been conditioned to this traditional finance space. And the vast majority of people have their head in the sand, unfortunately. Don't see it. Like we talked about the 401ks and TSPs of the world. Like the vast majority of people don't understand that their 401ks are in jeopardy. They're in jeopardy, guys. I mean, they really are. And they don't see it. Let me share this article with you guys. Let me make sure I can find it. I thought it was very, very interesting coming from this guy, pointing to the facts that if the banks don't, essentially saying if the banks don't pivot and adjust and adopt and embrace DLT, they're in trouble. And this is coming from a guy with 30 years experience in the IT department working with banks. I'm gonna change this view and I'm gonna share this with you guys. That's a good point, Danny Law. Once adopted, there should be no need for the MoneyGrams and Western Unions. Everyone will be able to go P2P. That's a good point. That's a good point. Kids out of school for like 3 weeks. Yes, Edward Benson. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Same here. Same here, my friend. So, guys, banks have to embrace distributed ledger tech, even if it kills them. And this is by Chuck Fried, who is the president and CEO of TXMQ, a technology consulting and integration company specializing in the financial services industry. He has more than 30 years of experience helping banks set up, manage, transform, and evolve their IT systems to improve customer service and reduce the risk of fraud and data loss. So, as someone who spends a large amount of time inside IT departments of major banks, I like to tell people two things. The first is that some of the brightest and cleverest people I've ever met work in bank technology groups. The second is that many banks have facilitated a culture of complacency when it comes to technological transformation. I find this attitude often presents itself as fear, more specifically, fear of change. It's understandable. Over time, a leading market position, steady successes, and routine, if not staggering, annual growth starts to make one feel immune from competition. You begin to become complacent, and what is complacency really but fear of change? Nowhere is the complacency more evident in the way of the banking industry, in the way the banking industry is looking at distributed ledger technology. I see DLT treated as anything from a passing fancy to unwelcome distraction by banking IT leaders. In my experience, these attitudes are the result of a lack of information about the tech. To that end, here's what I tell bank leaders about blockchain and DLT. So, and I think that's just, it really, really points to something that Margine Delatine talked about. That was, the bank, and even, what's her name? Madame Lagarde as well mentioned this as well. And that is if the banks if they do not pay attention, they will be disintermediated, right? Margine Delatine and Christine Lagarde essentially said the same thing. And I like reading from this guy's perspective because he's on the inside. He knows how they think. He hears how they talk. And he's able to see their lack of action, right, from the inside. Right? Lack of action on the inside, right? I think that's important. So, and he can see it from the inside. That's the challenge. See, you guys got this conversation. Yep, 10,000 would be very nice, bro. Yeah. All right, so former Vox. Trying to catch is it Sweet? SUI, trying to catch his comments. But I missed them. Former Vox, Hey Siege, one more things. You have a channel, my friend Sue Jerice? So I mean, I think that's important to kind of follow that perspective from a guy who's in IT and what's going on really with the banks. What's really kind of going on with the banks, and that adds to what that leads to the next thing that's going on with them and what the banks are looking to do with this new liquidity. That I think, you know what I mean? Anarchy, idolatry. What is your channel name? Okay. And that leads to this next thing here. bank is looking to loosen some regulations so they can have more options in terms of liquidity. It's going to be huge for a lot of people. Regulators consider loosening bank liquidity rules amid the beer cold crisis could boost loan volume. So I just saw something on Twitter about the Bank of England and what they're going to be doing as well, this new setup that they have as well. Let me change this view. Okay, yes, Crypto Siege, former Vox pre-ter. Oh, okay, cool, very good. I have to check that out. Let me change this view, share this with you guys because it's really, really kind of telling. And again, shout out to DNI because I think it's so important to kind of have the long-term perspective, or if you will, to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of what ultimately is the game that's being played so that we can position ourselves. Everything else in between is just really drama. That change? Yeah, drama. So regulators consider loosening bank liquidity rules amid the beer cold crisis could boost loan volume. So here's some key points from this. Federal regulators are discussing relaxing liquidity rules on banks to reduce financial pressure on them, right, stemming from the beer cold pandemic. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which regulates banks, yes, we know about that, and Federal Savings Association is considering relaxing rules over leveraged lending. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this challenge, right? At this particular, whether it's called a black swan event or whatever we want to call it. The steps being discussed could make banks more likely to give loans to companies that currently are seen as risk, including energy and travel sectors. So regulators discussing relaxing liquidity rules on banks and raising the amount of leverage they can hold to reduce financial pressure on them, stemming from the beer cold, sources said Tuesday. The steps being discussed could allow banks to take on a higher proportion of loans with lower credit ratings and make banks more likely to extend loans to companies that could in the near future be classified as risk. All right, so the Federal Reserve, which determines how much extra capital or liquidity a bank should hold, on Tuesday released new guidance relaxing those guidelines and may move to relax banks' leverage ratios as well, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. Yeah, I just think it's interesting, the new hire into the OCC, this particular thing coming into effect as well, or at least they're looking at it. It says the OCC has not made it a final decision on whether to loosen the rules, and there is substantial resistance to doing so, according to sources. So, and I just read about this as well. Among the measures being considered by the OCC is the relaxing of a proposed rule over supplemental leverage ratio standards, as well as the effective date of the current expected credit loss standard. The CECL accounting standard sets loan risk measurements. Okay, I don't need to read that. Those who are opposed to relaxing the rules adopted 7 years ago note that they have been effective at keeping banks from extending risky loans that could have put them in a precarious position during the present turmoil. So they, guys, listen, they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this problem, at this content. Government should give checks of 4K with people who make less. Yeah, I just read that, Eli, as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, DeepMind, she did. DeepMind said, didn't Esoteric Trading mention Trading Solution mentioned previously that Ripple should get a banking license? Yes, she did mention that. She did mention that. And I did see something on Twitter about they're looking to I believe might have been even an article about giving these banking licenses to non-banks and fintechs and exploring that. Sue Jerice, thank you. Wonderful community here. I like it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Edward Benson says Ripple will restruct and be lender of last resort. Yeah, I'm really liking what D and I is saying about the digital nomad investor, saying about the IMF's role in this thing. I really do believe that. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, that's exactly right, Deep Mind. It's almost as if they are deliberately killing the dollar. I wonder why. Yeah, that's exactly right. And that is exactly what they're doing. I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. Anybody get any word of what the President Donald Trump and the task force? I thought they were going live at 11:30 Eastern. Any word on that? I mean, they could give any amount they wanted to. I mean, if 1,000, why not 2? If 2,000, why not 4,000? I don't think that it will. I don't know if they'll get that banking license or not. If they do, I don't think that the Ripple's going to run it in the traditional way that banks are doing it. But in the end, it's not so much Ripple. It's the end goal is the ILP and the XRPL ledger. That's where the Internet of Value will go. How Ripple as a company, as an entity, as a bank. It's not the overall bigger picture. The overall bigger picture is that ILP and its ability to connect all the networks of the world, and the ledger, who is it's immutable, it's transparent, 50, 60 million transactions, whatever it is, no single error, and it's AML, KYC, and CFT. You know what I mean? Yeah, and they don't need a banking license. Ripple doesn't need one. Ripple can pretty much act in any way that they would like, that because they own the stuff, right? But they've gifted the ILP, so Ripple's going to be doing the things that they're wanting to do. But in the end, that XRPL ledger, right? It's the value is all about in the protocols. It's all about and Ripple's going to go off into so many other different verticals. So many different verticals. As a company, they're going to be just fine. I used to love being the banker when we played Monopoly XRP Lava. How about that? Good to see you on the stream, my friend. Yeah, it doesn't make it. They can pick any numbers that they want. Like, it doesn't really even matter. They can do whatever. Thank you, DeepMind. I appreciate that. So I know the president, so they're waiting right now for the president to go live. But you were honest, right? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's why we need to take advantage of the system. I mean, of the situation that we know is coming. We certainly believe that it's coming. I don't know if we know that it's coming, but we feel that it's coming. It's going to be a digital asset, and it's going to be gold, right? It's going to be a digital asset, this new financial system, and it's going to be gold. We believe it's the greatest digital asset ever created, and that's going to be XRP. That's what we're banking on, right? We're betting on, I should say. That change? Right? And so we shall see. What's being said, couldn't they just see a 10K XRP price as well? Couldn't they just set one? Yes, they could. They could set any price that they want. And again, but I feel like they have to make this situation look so bad and so desperate, and the world's coming apart, that it has to be so bad that their answer to this such a big problem makes sense. It feels good. It's saving the world, right? I mean, we can't have the central banks of the world going down. We can't have the global governments of a world going down, right? So something that can have this value, right? Set to it, right? That's going to save us from ourselves. Who's going to argue with it? Now, I mean, you remember now the thing that's so important to understand. Like, here's the thing that's so really important to understand, right? Let's say they do that. They do this. The IMF has the vast majority of the escrow. They reset this value, and they give their reason for why they're doing it to alleviate the central bank debt, I mean, all or some, to alleviate the government debt, all or some, right? And they let's say they go 2,000 per XRP in order to do it. This digital asset that's been involved in cross-border payments and what it does, right? They let the world know, right? They let the world know. 99% of the world is not going to know that you and I just became whatever. Millionaires, multimillionaires. Who knows? There might be a couple people, they might even become trillionaires. The world is not going to know that. You and I will know it. But the digital asset space is so tiny. It's so tiny. Right? I mean, think about it. Is your neighbor going to know that you became a millionaire, or multi-millionaire because of this price set of this digital asset that's called XRP? Are they going to know? When you go to a restaurant to dine in, are they going to know that you were one of the people who held XRP? The world is not going to know. The world is just going to be paying attention to the fact that the world is not coming to an end because the IMF, in conjunction with central banks and governments of the world, just price set this XRP. If this is what they're going to do, we don't know. Right? They're not going to know. And I think that's the reason why it's hard for people in the community to really kind of buy in, if you will, to the idea of this price set. Because they think, right? They think everyone's going to know. Oh my God. Crypto Siege is what? Crypto Siege is a multi-millionaire now? What? Like, my neighbors aren't going to know. Danny Law says Trump will tell everyone to get a Binance US account under his referral link so he can get $15 for each. This has a sharp psychological analysis, Siege. Right? Thank you. I thank you, I think. Sue Jerice says. Sweet Jerice. Right? So the world's not going to know. And we're certainly not going to get on YouTube and afterwards say, oh my God, I'm a gazillionaire, right? We're not going to do that. But we'll know. We'll know. But this community is so small. The world's not going to know. The world's going to say, oh, okay, digital asset. Bitcoin saved us. Like, they ain't even going to know XRP, right? What's XRP? They're not going to know. They're not going to know. They don't. Who knows that there's a NASDAQ liquidity index for XRP and Bitcoin? We know. The world doesn't know. The world has no clue who Ripple the company is. They don't even know Ripple the company, much less digital asset XRP. They're not going to know. They're just... Raymond Scott says, I've adopted the crap out of it. That's right, Eli. That's right. Although a global meltdown is happening, doesn't affect me because of the knowledge I know. Those who don't go into the panic. That's right. Exactly right. We, my friend Eli, we are in the know. But the vast majority of people have no clue. You think they're gonna run out? Like, a lot of people in the community like, there's some people in the digital asset space community that think it's going to be rioting in the streets if XRP gets a price set. There's not going to be rioting in the streets. They don't know. Like they, what's important to note is that the IMF, World Bank, BIS, central banks, ECB, Bank of England, Madame Lagarde, they know. They know. That's what's important. They know. And there's got to be a reason why, like BK says all the time, there's got to be a reason why Ripple, the company, was able to sell 900 million XRP and convince them not to sell. Like these market makers, these people in the XRP ecosystem have got to, in some way, shape, or form or fashion, realize, been presented a bigger picture. It might not be necessarily a price set. They might not have been able to paint that picture or share that vision. But they had to have been sold on some type of vision bigger than 14 cents per XRP. It's got to be something bigger. It's got to be something bigger, like global reserve currency. It's got to be something bigger. And so either the value of XRP can rise based upon the news of what the IMF is going to do, like the market forces, like DNI says, go into effect and let it do its thing because of that news, right? And the news, I don't know what the news might say. It might be said the IMF is now the controlling thing of the XRP, plans to settle the bank debt, central bank debts with this, right? Something along those lines. It might be that. That might be enough for the IMF to do, the NASDAQ to do what they're going to do. In either case, there's not going to be an argument against it. That's the thing that's important to know. Any word yet, Deep Mind? Oh, there he is. POTUS is live now. Later, fam. Stay safe. All right. All right, guys. Morning Siege. Jay Fretlins is in the building. Did you notice the USD staking on Celsius is given 7.15%? Dang. It's pegged to the dollar, so it would always be a dollar. Exactly. If they go to CMC, they would know when BTC is in the rear view mirror. Exactly right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're right. Swee says, it's so effing obvious that they keep the price down artificially if someone looks on the daily 5-minute charts. Exactly. It's all about them timing the perfect point for adoption while having a stress test before implementation. I agree 1,000% with you, Swee. I agree with you 1,000%. MMAS is pronounced emphasis. Oh, I like that. Emphasis. Nice. I like that, brother. I had a dream. General Motors adopted XRP to pay their employees. LOL. Even my subconscious is ready for the moon. Exactly. Let me see if this is on CNBC television.
Tip-top shape. They soon will be. They're getting ready to come up to New York. I spoke with Governor Cuomo about it. He's excited about it. And I also, we haven't made the final determination as to where it's going to go on the West Coast. The Comfort is located now in San Diego, and it's going to be, we'll be picking the destination fairly shortly. So those two ships are being prepared to go, and they can be launched over the next week or so, depending on need. Earlier this week, the first clinical trial of the vaccine candidate for the virus began in Washington State, as you probably know. The genetic sequence of the virus was first published in January. but thanks to the unprecedented partnership between the FDA, NIH, and the private sector, we've reached human trials for the vaccine just 8 weeks later. That's a record by many, many months. It used to take years to do this, and now we did it just in a very short while. That's the fastest development in history of what we're doing with regard to the vaccine. We're making very, very big progress. Today, I can announce further steps to expand testing capacity. We're working with several groups to determine if the self-swab, a much easier process than the current process that's not very nice to do, I can tell you, because I did it. But we have a current process that's a little bit difficult. If you have it done, the groups are working on determining if a self-swab by an individual is as effective as the other. The other is very effective, very accurate. But we're going to see if we can do a self-swab, which is would be a lot more popular, I can tell you that. So, and that would be administered also by a health official, but it would be a lot easier to do. The fact is that the health professionals would free up a lot. Let me just say, the self-swab is what it is. It's a self-swab. You do it yourself. The other has to be issued by a health professional, and it's something that is quite difficult. And we think it's working out for the self-swab. And if it would test positive, the people would go and they would do what they have to do. But we think that's probably working out. I've asked the FDA to cut through the red tape and reduce regulatory barriers. We are looking at some very exciting things, and I'm going to be holding a second news conference either today. We're going to talk about the FDA. Some things are happening that are quite exciting, and we're going to be doing that either later today or tomorrow, fairly early tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But the FDA, my instructions is I've been working very, very hard on a number of developments, and we'll be discussing them with you later today or tomorrow. And this afternoon, I'll be meeting with nurses on the front lines of the battle against the virus. They're truly American heroes. They want to get it done. They're incredible people. So we're going to be meeting with nurses, and I actually look forward to that. They're very brave. They're taking a lot of risk, and they have done an incredible job, and they never complain. Today, I'm also announcing that the Department of Housing and Urban Development is providing immediate relief to renters and homeowners by suspending all foreclosures and evictions until the end of April. So we're working very closely with Dr. Ben Carson and everybody from HUD. Every generation of Americans has been called to make shared sacrifices for the good of the nation. In World War II, young people in their teenage years volunteered to fight. They wanted to fight so badly because they love our country. Workers refused to go home and slept on factory floors to keep assembly lines running. And, you know, the numbers of ships that they built during World War II to this day has nothing like that has ever been equaled. They were doing ships literally on a daily basis. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And to this day, nobody's seen anything like that, what they were able to do during World War II. And now it's our time. We must sacrifice together because we are all in this together, and we'll come through together. It's the invisible enemy. That's always the toughest enemy, the invisible enemy. But we're going to defeat the invisible enemy. I think we're going to do it faster than we thought, and it will be a complete victory. It'll be a total victory. So we'll have a second conference, again, having to do with the FDA and this. I think it's going to be potentially a very exciting news conference, and we will do it as we can, so whether it's today or tomorrow. And I'll, with that, ask Mike Pence to say a few words, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. The White House Coronavirus Task Force met this morning, and now that we have cases in all 50 states, we're continuing to move out on the President's call to bring the full resources of the federal government, a full partnership with every state and territory, the full power of the American economy to support businesses and families. As the President says to us and every day, we'll do whatever it takes. We're all in this together. Yesterday, the president met with the tourism industry executives and also had an engaging discussion with all the top companies in our industrial and medical supply chain. The president, as you all are aware, also announced today that by mutual consent, the northern border to Canada will be closed to non-essential travel. This does not include essential travel or the transit of goods, but it was through mutual discussion that took place this morning between the President and Prime Minister Trudeau, and the Department of Homeland Security will be effectuating that decision. The President spoke with some of the nation's top business leaders today, again, to speak about the supply chain in the country. For our part, we're going to be conducting a conference call later today with state and local health officials to renew our ongoing commitment of cooperation and collaboration. As the President said last week in signing the Stafford Act, he stood up the National Response Coordination Center, and today at the President's direction, FEMA has gone to level 1. FEMA's mission is to support disasters that are locally executed, state managed, and federally supported. And tomorrow, the President will be hosting all the nation's governors from a video conference at FEMA to ensure that they have full connection to all of the activated regions for FEMA going forward. With regard to testing, I'm pleased to report that we're increasing the number of tests being performed by the thousands every day, thanks to the public-private partnership that President Trump forged with commercial laboratories around the country. Our health experts tell us to remind every American, it's important to remember, people without symptoms should not get tested. We want to make sure that the supply of testing is there for those that need it most or are symptomatic or in the vulnerable population. Dr. Deborah Birx in a moment will address the progress that we're making on testing, the infection rate, our recommendations to every America, as well as some important new findings about the impact on youth that we're gaining from data that's coming in from Europe that'll be important to every American. On the subject of supplies, the President has our task force extremely focused, as the President mentioned mentioned that he's invoking the Defense Production Act today. Secretary Esper in a few moments will describe the ongoing efforts that the Department of Defense is taking to make medical resources available. Secretary Robert Wilkie will announce decisions the VA has made to expand hospital capacity within their system. Also, with regard to medical personnel, at the President's direction, HHS is issuing a regulation today.
Market's tanking, huh? I knew about Italy suspending mortgage payments. This is new. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap this video up here. CNBC television, and I believe on YouTube, and also Yahoo Finance YouTube as well. So that's interesting stuff, interesting news. I'm going to wrap up this video and let's stream with you guys. Change this view. Thanks so much for hanging out. Interesting times. Guys, just remember that there's a bigger plan to all of this. You know, we all believe there's a bigger plan to all of this, and that is, you know, this new financial system. You know, we believe it in our heart of hearts. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Jeff says, thanks for all you do, my man. Love all your content. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. We all know there's a bigger picture to all of this. And thank God we're in a position to know that, which is really, really cool. Which is really, really cool that we can be prepared ahead of this new financial system. You know, we've known for a while about the dollar. It's going to be a new financial system. The U.S. will not get left behind. We know that as well. So it's interesting times. We'll see what happens with the IMF and this ESDR. But we've all read the articles about the IMF wanting to up their role and up their usage of this SDR. It's just going to be the perfect time to kind of get it done. That's what it looks like to me. I don't think it's I don't see another entity, maybe the World Bank, but I just feel as though it is going to be the IMF. It's just too many, they check too many boxes, right? They don't own a currency. They don't own any nations. They have a clean bank's statement, right? It's clean, right? So they're in a perfect position to do it. And again, once the big pitch, once the black swan event, if you will, is just put out by the media and it's just so blown up and everyone kind of feels like they're in this moment of quiet desperation, if you will, they're going to look for an answer. They're going to look for help. Here comes the IMF to kind of give them the answer in this form of this new financial instrument, which is the ESDR. All right, and they might not even I don't know how the Ripple and XRP is going to be mentioned. I guess at some point they'll mention what this ESDR is made up of, and maybe that is the thing that causes it to do its thing in the market, or they just go with plan B, if you will, to just reset it. Again, the masses, the world is not going to care because they're going to feel like the world is being saved by this new move that the IMF does, right? And so only the people in this community in the digital asset space will know what that means, right? And we're such a small majority, you know what I mean? We're so small in numbers that it's not going to matter. Will the maxis of the world be not excited? Yeah, they're not going to be not excited. They're not going to be excited about it, but they can't change anything. No one's going to argue with the IMF what it's going to do for central banks, excuse me, and or governments. And no one's going to argue with the NASDAQ. Again, and our neighbors, excuse me, our neighbors are not going to know what's happened to us and for us. They're not going to know, right? We'll know, right? And we'll be blessed, and we will have been rewarded for what we did in terms of this two plus year bear market, right? Because we had the due diligence, we did our homework, we figured it out. We're blessed to be in this position, blessed to be early adopters in this new asset class, and even more important to that, we're blessed to be XRP hodlers, right? So just understand that. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you later on tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for Wealth Wednesdays, generational wealth strategies, guys. Excited to see you guys there. It's going to be awesome tonight as well. Absolutely. Sorry, guys. So listen, I'm going to wrap up the stream like I do all my streams and remind you of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye. Oh man, Harley Cash, you're gonna have to catch the replay, brother. I'm sorry I missed you, man. It's a good one. Make sure you catch it. It was good.